Welcome to our virtual classroom for INED 7211, Learning Unit 3, Recognizing Diversity in the South African Classroom. For this learning unit, you will need chapters 4 and 5 of your module reader. In this video, we focus on Learning Outcome 2 and examine learner diversity in the South African classroom. Before we get started, ask yourself the following questions. What is diversity? What does diversity mean in relation to learning? What kind of differences can we expect to see in the classes we teach? It's important to understand the range of possible differences that may exist. As a teacher, you should be sensitive to these differences and therefore be aware of what learners need from you in the classroom. In this video, we will look at 9 ways in which children in your classroom might be different and have different experiences of learning. Number 1, the level of access to the curriculum. In an average class of 40 to 50 learners, you can be sure that not all learners are accessing the curriculum at their grade level. Teachers should be accommodating of learners who are working at different grade levels. There are generally 4 levels of access to the curriculum that can be identified in any class. Learners accessing the curriculum at the grade level, learners who have already mastered the grade level content, learners requiring scaffolding or support to access and engage the curriculum at grade level, and learners who are grade straddling or engaging the curriculum at 1 or more grades below grade level. Think about how you as a teacher will support learners who are working at different levels of the curriculum. What strategies will you put in place? Number 2, ways of making meaning from learning. Our learners all learn differently, have different interests, likes, dislikes, strengths, and weaknesses. We need to understand all our learners in order to support them in reaching their learning potential. Think about how you might use learners' strengths and interests to support them in reaching their learning potential in your classroom. Number 3, the ways that learners behave. Children display big differences in their levels and ways of communicating, interacting, concentrating, and participating. Differences in behavior can be linked to many different factors, including differences in the brain that lead to a variety of ways in which learners see and interact with their environment, changes in circumstances at home or psychosocial issues. In any class of learners, you will notice a wide range of behaviors. Number 4, psychosocial well-being is a term that is used to describe our mental, emotional, and social health, how we think and feel about ourselves, the quality of our interactions with others, and our sense of belonging. As a teacher, it is our challenge to get to know and understand the psychosocial makeup of all the children in our classes. Just as your learners will rarely know what you have been doing between the end of a school day and the start of another, you can't assume to know what has been happening in their lives. However, acknowledging a range of psychological well-being of the learners that you teach, in a combination with developing and showing empathy and understanding, will go a long way. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is useful to understanding the psychosocial well-being of the learners in our classroom. Number 5, learners' socio-economic circumstances. In South Africa, the resources and quality of education offered in schools are still largely unequal. In well-resourced schools, children have access to textbooks, materials, and extracurricular, and a host of other activities, all contributing to their holistic education and development. This is in stark contrast to learners in poorly resourced schools, where access to even basic amenities like electricity, toilets, and a library are limited. In line with Bronfenbrenner's model of understanding child development, we as teachers must recognize the potential impact of learners' socio-economic circumstances and what that might have on their learning and development, and acknowledge this diversity in our classrooms. Number 6, disability. It is crucial to recognize that children with disabilities do not themselves form one homogeneous group. There is wide diversity in disability. Different types of impairments and disabilities and the severity of that impairment impact on the diversity of the learning needs. Teachers should be educated and informed on how to support a wide range of learners with impairments or disability in their classroom. Number 7, gender identity and sexual orientation. The gender identity diversity in your classroom could potentially be quite broad. As teachers, we need to be accepting and sensitive of this as we create a safe space in our inclusive classrooms, promoting equity and equality regardless of gender identity or sexual orientation. Number 8, race, culture, and religion. As teachers, we need to be careful not to make assumptions about the learners we teach based on race, culture, and religion. Many urban schools are made up of learners from different parts of South Africa, and the world, creating classroom environments rich in racial, cultural, and religious diversity. This creates a wonderful opportunity for learning about different cultures and experiences and how to create an accepting classroom environment. Number 9, language. In a country with 11 official languages, soon to be 12 with the inclusion of South Africa's sign language, multilingual classrooms are a reality. In many South African classrooms, there is often more than one home language represented, and the language of learning and teaching is not all learners' mother tongue. In fact, for the majority of learners in South African classrooms from grade 4, the language of learning and teaching will be the first or even second additional language. This has significant consequences for teaching and learning in an inclusive classroom. Consider how you will support all learners in a multilingual classroom. In summary, as teachers, we must be aware of diversity in the South African classroom in order to meet the needs of all of our learners.